It took an international effort and the dedication of a firefight army, but by the weekend, they managed to contain the destruction. The once suffocating smoke has now cleared, but grit lingers in the air over the destroyed Altadena, both the physical residue of the fires and the intangible grit of resilience. Borrowing from a familiar slogan, it's resilience like that of Ezekiel Yara, a man who refused to leave his home even as the flames approached. On Tuesday, fierce winds blew like a hurricane, pushing the fire dangerously close to Ezekiel's property. Despite the evacuation orders, he chose to stay and fight. "I had no place to go. I mean, I had to save it, and I saved it," he explained. From 3 a.m. to 12 p.m., Ezekiel was on his roof, tirelessly hosing down his home to keep the flames at bay. "And what could you see all around you?" someone asked him. "Smoke. You couldn't see anything because it was all smoke," he recalled, painting a haunting picture of the chaos. Now, with the fires under control, the first steps toward recovery are beginning. The power company has embarked on what can only be described as the mother of all rewiring jobs, restoring electricity to the devastated area. Firefighters are seen cutting through fallen trees to free trapped vehicles. One crew even helped a couple carefully sift through the ashes of their home. In a moment of profound emotion, they discovered Heidi Barrio's wedding ring amid the debris. It's incredibly incredible," she said, overwhelmed by the kindness of the fire crew. Astonishingly, the firefighters had traveled all the way from Guatemala to help in the recovery efforts. For Ezekiel and others like him, it's a time of new beginnings. Altadena, both economically and physically, stands in stark contrast to the other major fire area, the Pacific Palisades, with its opulent coastal estates. Yet the devastation on both fronts highlights the shared struggle of communities brought to their knees by natural disaster. The scale of the fires left many wondering how firefighters managed to control two massive blazes in just one weekend. Saturday morning told a harrowing tale. The sun itself appeared dimmed, shrouded in a smoky sepia haze that declared a public health emergency. To approach the fire's origins was to enter streets turned ghostly by enforced evacuation, entire neighborhoods reduced to ash and silence, save for the occasional howl of wind and crackle of ember. In the face of unimaginable loss, resilience shines through in every corner, from Ezekiel's defiant stand against the flames to the firefighters' tireless work and the power company's unyielding efforts to rebuild. Each act of courage and solidarity contributes to the story of a community determined to rise from the ashes. As the smoke crept ever closer, the call for evacuation rang loud, underscoring the urgency of the moment. The fire's relentless approach painted a grim picture, and then, almost like a scene from a disaster movie, a fire army began to assemble. Drawn from across the United States and even beyond its borders, they converged on the front lines to wage war against the flames. This battlefield wasn't marked by trenches but by a simple white garden wall. On one side was Los Angeles, teetering on the brink of destruction, on the other, the rest of the United States, parts of it already consumed by the Inferno. Standing between them was a thin yellow line of defense, firefighters who had already spent 30 grueling hours or more in position, battling exhaustion and the unyielding blaze. Amid this chaos, 2 residents and their 2 dogs stood ready to flee, yet they faced a cruel reality: they had no way out. Desperation turned to ingenuity as they and others threw everything they had at the flames. Garden hoses and lawn sprinklers, tools of tranquility, were repurposed into makeshift firefighting equipment. Every drop of water became a lifeline as the winds toyed with their efforts, shifting directions unpredictably. With the winds changing to basically reverse directions, coming toward Brentwood, we had contingency lines in place with dozers and aircraft equipped with retardant, a fire official recounted. The air response was as calculated as it was daring. Aircraft deployed water and fire retardant mixed with dye, ensuring pilots could mark their progress and hits. In some areas, the fight was precise; in others, like Mandeville Canyon, the fire proved unpredictable, breaking through and striking the village. Such setbacks highlighted the volatile nature of the battle, where even the best-laid plans could falter. On the ground, crews worked tirelessly. Firefighters hiked into the canyon depths, carving out fire breaks to contain the spread. Others were stationed in backyards, standing vigilant over neighborhoods that hung in the balance. Some of these crews had traveled extraordinary distances to join the fight. Teams from Washington state had driven for 2 days straight to be there. Their strategy in some areas was unconventional but effective, allowing the fire to consume itself. Our plan right now is to let it creep down slowly and take away some of the fuel that's ready to burn. This way, it won't ignite when we're not here, explained one crew member, their calm demeanor belying the high stakes of their work. The firefighting effort was a true testament to unity and determination, with teams coming from Oregon, Walla Walla, Washington state, New Mexico, and even Mexico. The international coalition represented a shared commitment to combating the flames and protecting lives and property. Above them, the skies were filled with the hum of fixed-wing aircraft executing water-bombing sorties, while relay helicopters performed the same task with precision. These aerial operations were no small feat. The extreme winds of the previous week had rendered such maneuvers impossible, but now, with conditions slightly more favorable, they became a critical component of the firefighting arsenal. Despite the odds, the combined efforts of ground and air crews brought hope. The smoke-choked air and sepia-tinted skies served as a constant reminder of the danger, but the sight of firefighters, local residents, and international allies working side by side proved that resilience and unity could stand against even the fiercest inferno. The fight was far from over, but with every firebreak carved, every drop of water deployed, and every flame extinguished, the community inched closer to recovery. This wasn't just a battle against fire, it was a battle for survival, for homes, and for the very spirit of a people determined not to surrender. This weekend's fleeting calm, though possibly temporary, offered a critical window for transitioning from the immediate chaos of firefighting to addressing the daunting longer-term needs of the community. As the flames receded, attention turned to securing the devastated areas. The National Guard was swiftly deployed across evacuation zones, creating barriers and banning civilian access to prevent looting and further chaos. There's no access going forward, officials stated firmly, underscoring the gravity of the situation. Yet for many residents, this restriction was a cruel reminder of what they had lost, a life left behind in ashes. Victoria and Scott's story mirrored that of countless others. Their home, once filled with memories and possessions, was now reduced to nothing. The devastation was total. "Our place is done. Our place is destroyed," Scott said, struggling to articulate the enormity of the loss. "Destroyed completely. There's nothing left. No infrastructure. It's going to take years to bring electricity, gas, and everything back." In the face of this stark reality, they found themselves navigating a new and uncertain future. Their immediate concern was to reach a parent's house, miraculously still standing, to retrieve urgently needed medication. Amid the heartbreak, a different narrative began to unfold, a testament to human compassion and resilience. Across Los Angeles, donation points emerged as beacons of hope. These hubs, organized and staffed by volunteers, provided everything from food and clothes to hygiene products, blankets, and pet supplies. "These people are looking for blankets and pillows and clothing and shoes because their houses are completely gone," one volunteer explained. Donations poured in, no questions asked. The process was simple: roll up, load up, and move on to the next person in need. One evacuee, reflecting on their narrow escape, shared a chilling account of survival. "We evacuated in time. If we had gone to sleep like we were planning, I know we would have perished," they said, their voice trembling. They had left with nothing more than a few backpacks, their home and belongings abandoned to the advancing flames. The support they received was more than practical, it was life-affirming. "This is vital, it's absolutely vital," they said, fighting back tears. "I'm deeply moved that this community has come together to bring us resources." Yet, beneath this outpouring of generosity, the tragedy remained raw. The lists of the dead and missing grew daily, each name a painful reminder of lives lost and families torn apart. For Los Angeles, the fires had wrought unimaginable destruction in a matter of hours, leaving a city grappling with the enormity of what had occurred. The road to recovery would be long and arduous, with scars, both physical and emotional, that would take years to heal. As the community began to pick up the pieces, the broader implications became impossible to ignore. Climate change, with its increasingly erratic weather patterns, loomed as a key factor behind the disaster. Experts warned that the conditions that came together to fuel this firestorm, intense heat, high winds, and prolonged drought, were likely to repeat, and with greater frequency. The fires were not just a local tragedy but a harbinger of the challenges that communities worldwide could face in the coming years. In the face of such adversity, the city's response offered a glimmer of hope. The resilience of its people, the tireless efforts of first responders, and the overwhelming generosity of neighbors showed that even in the darkest times, humanity could shine through. But the question remained, how would Los Angeles, and the world, adapt to a future where such disasters might become the new normal? The growing frequency of extreme weather events, marked by high winds, prolonged drought, and rising temperatures, is reshaping the global landscape and the way we respond to natural disasters. These conditions are no longer isolated occurrences, they are becoming the norm. Fire officials across this region have been sounding the alarm over the past week, emphasizing the escalating challenges these conditions bring to firefighting efforts. When high winds whip through the landscape, they render one of the most critical firefighting tools, fixed-wing aircraft, almost useless. The wind scatters water and fire retardants before they can reach their target, diminishing their effectiveness. Helicopters, which require precision and stability, face similar limitations as gusts make safe operation impossible. The risks extend beyond the air. Ground crews cannot be deployed to the fire front because the intense heat, speed, and erratic movement of the flames create conditions that are simply too dangerous for human intervention. The challenges don't end there. Fire appliances and tenders, vital for containing and suppressing flames, are also unable to operate effectively. The fast-moving fire line and volatile conditions make their deployment both impractical and life-threatening. As the fire gains momentum, the options for direct action diminish, leaving first responders with few tools at their disposal. In a conversation with a senior fire officer just 2 days ago, I posed the difficult question, what can be done when conditions make conventional firefighting methods impossible? His response was direct and sobering, "Sir, you run away." These words encapsulate the harsh reality facing modern firefighting teams. Despite their training, technology, and resolve, there are times when nature's fury simply cannot be confronted head-on. This stark reality is a symptom of a much larger problem, the climate crisis. The conditions that came together last week, intense heat, prolonged dryness, and ferocious winds, are not anomalies. They are the predictable consequences of a warming planet, and they are occurring with greater frequency and intensity. For firefighters, this means adapting to a new normal where traditional methods are often insufficient. The challenge is not just local or national, it is global. Communities around the world are grappling with the same devastating patterns. From the wildfires raging across California and Australia to the Amazon and Mediterranean regions, the story is strikingly similar. Fire seasons are growing longer, fires are burning hotter, and the costs, both human and environmental, are staggering. The implications extend far beyond firefighting. Entire ecosystems are being reshaped by these fires, with wildlife habitats destroyed and biodiversity threatened. The economic toll is immense, as infrastructure, homes, and businesses are reduced to ash. For individuals and families, the loss is deeply personal, a lifetime of memories and belongings gone in an instant. As we face this mounting crisis, the question looms, how can we prepare for a future where such disasters are increasingly common? The answers will require a global effort, from reducing greenhouse gas emissions to investing in more resilient infrastructure and advanced firefighting technologies. But even with these measures, the reality remains that there are limits to what we can control. The scene unfolding here is a stark reminder of the urgency of the climate crisis. It challenges us not only to rethink how we fight fires, but also to confront the broader environmental and societal changes that are reshaping our world. This is no longer just a fight against fire, it is a fight for the future of our planet. Back to you.